Talk of the Town. Go ahead.
Steve Herb Compton. I just wanted to tell Dirk good luck in the future and his further endeavors, and I want to tell you we appreciate his conversation and his personality on the radio.
Well, I appreciate that, Herb. Thank you very much. It's been nothing but pleasure doing it.
And you have opened up, Herb, where we were headed probably for most of this hour. So thanks for getting us started and rolling a little bit.
Thank you.
All right. As most of you know, I need to take a break. I'll take a break because we've slipped a little bit. I'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about it. It is Dirk's last day, and we will reminisce through 35
It's
years.
my last day here.
Last day here. But
Okay.
for some, if you're not here, you're not. Right?
Right. But you know, it sounded a little ominous.
For a lot of us, it is a little ominous. Now,
don't write the eulogy.
Let us, if we want to play funeral dirges this morning, let us do it. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back with more. Talk of the Town, open phones. We would like you maybe to call and tell your best Dirk Christensen stories this morning.
Oh, no.
308-698-2131, pound 1340 on your Verizon Wireless. Email down, in fact, internet down.
Yep.
So you can't email us best wishes for Dirk. In fact, it's amazing how reliant you become upon your computer in this day and age, but that's exactly where we are. We can't do much anything right now.
That's for sure.
Except, commiserate over Dirk's move and final day here. We go to the phones with another old trusted voice that we've heard through the years.
Yes.
Paul, go ahead.
I don't know what my best Dirk story is, except to say that, Dirk, you have made KGFW in particular, NRG and Kearney, but especially this station that I worked for 30-plus years, that you now have worked for 30-plus, and Steve, it is what it is, in great share because of the efforts of you in determining what programming, in determining the formats, this type of thing, of course, with management involvement. But this station would not be what it is, and I think that, without a doubt, without praising unnecessarily, KGFW, 1340 AM, I think holds a candle to any AM station anywhere in the country, especially in Nebraska, and I think that anyone who listens knows that, anyone who listens to radio knows that. And it's your talent, your ability is what really put KG on the map, I think.
Yeah, and Paul, you've brought up an interesting thing, and I wanted to talk about that at some point. Hopefully we'll have time. But the evolution of KGFW under Dirk's tutelage, basically.
Yes.
Because we all know what happened with the super FMs, the 100,000-watt FMs, as a, basically a city limits music station or a county limits music station. We were not going to survive against the super FMs, the 100,000 watters.
Yeah.
And Dirk supervised, kind of spearheaded the transition to news talk, and it has been very seamless. And I agree with you. I would put what we do on a daily basis up to speed or up to comparison with any of even some of the metros and what they do with AM radio nowadays.
And I must say, with tongue in cheek, sort of, it was. I left, and now Bill Moyer sometime left without having had a lot. He had 10 years or whatever here. Others have left, but among the 30-plus, there was you and Dirk and myself, and that leaves you. Yeah, but you've got a few years now.
Well, what's that say?
It says you're next.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'm next. I'm 5 years away from early retirement if I can afford that.
Yeah, you've got at least that long to go yet. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Another caller this morning. Talk of the Town, go ahead.
Well, I remember 36 years ago when I interviewed Dirk when he was looking for a job out of high school. And John McDonald I was the program director at the time. John McDonald was the manager. And John said, Steve, find somebody. I'm tired of guys who stick around here for 1 year and go away. Find somebody who's going to stick around for a while.
Mission accomplished, right? 35 years later?
36 years later, he's leaving. I knew he would break down and leave before I wanted him to.
That's what the old management would have said. You're nothing but a floater.
Yep. Yeah, Steve, that's a great story, and I've got one similar to that, so thanks this morning.
Thanks, Steve. When
Dirk was hired, and Steve mentions that, and John's role in all of that, when it comes to people that are in this business, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn, but most of us think we're the smartest guy in the room all the time.
Well, I know better.
Well, some of us think we're the smartest guy in the room. The minute Dirk was hired, and after a few months on the job and getting to know Dirk, I knew automatically I was no longer anywhere near the smartest guy in the room. Not a chance. And Dirk's kind of seamless transition into taking over basically programming of KGFW went very, very well. And I every time I'm in the room with Dirk, I'm a little modest because I ain't the smartest guy in the room when Dirk's around.
It is, this was an 18-year-old kid who got involved here, and I had an innate love for radio. The bug bit me, no question about that. But it took a long time to get any smarts at all, if there are any in here. But that was a slow, and I have to credit, John, especially for allowing it, because I was allowed to learn. And I'm not sure how rare a situation that is, but I'm imagining. See, I've only had experience in one place here in the industry, but I am of the opinion, and from what I have heard around about, that was one of the rarest things to ever happen, is to have a guy who's starts at 18 right out of high school, and literally like the day after I graduated, I was getting ready to go on the air. And to have learned that and to mature, and even emotionally having to mature, and relationships and all of these things that you have to do with getting up to speed on that. But I did love it, and I had a vision for what it should be, and when something wasn't working right, I just took it and tried to do something with it. And in most places, you never would have been allowed to touch it.
Yeah,
and I loved it. I adored this job, and that's what allowed it to happen.
Well, and that shows too. I mean, you don't program successfully unless you actually do love what you're doing.
That's true. Do we have a caller?
I have a caller waiting. Go ahead. Go ahead, you're on.
Dirk, it's Barb Beechner calling on behalf of Barb and Dick.
Yeah.
I want you to know how much we have enjoyed you on the radio and knowing you and your family. Good luck in whatever you're going to. And I can't tell you, I know more about this community because of you guys. Mm-hmm. You've taught me a lot, and I do appreciate it, and we'll be watching your next adventure.
Well, thank you very much.
Good luck.
I appreciate that. Thank you, and thanks, Dick. Your husband was in here earlier, and it's always a blessing. And again, his faith in a young programmer when we were doing ball games and more. We were doing artwork and everything else for UNK at that time, and it was a great experience, great learning experience, and it all goes into my memories. Thank you, Barb. We have Talk of the Town underway here, and I guess I'm going to take the breaks here. It's my last opportunity.
Yeah,
to
I'm just going to give this hour over to you. That's the plan.
It's 22 after 10. We'll be back in a minute.
Talk of the Town. We're going to bring all kinds of voices into the mix. Dirk's compatriot on Flakes for how many years, Alan? You guys were trying to figure this morning. You were mentioning Flakes. When did that actually start, the Flakes program? Because John and Al and I did it for a few years, even before Alan was on board. Probably in the mid-'80s, about 84, 85.
I started working here in March of 1984. And I believe we started the Flakes in 86.
86, and so, yeah, I did that for the first few years before I kind of evolved more into the sports side of things and trips and the like. Yeah.
John and Al did the Flakes until 88.
So you started in 88, and I think I did do maybe a couple of years, and as Dirk mentioned, starting in early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was about mid-90s. It was, in fact, my first sign-on, or what we call sign-on, 6 a.m. at KGFW was, I think, the week after my son was born in 1990.
Yeah.
Wow. Easy to remember.
Yeah.
Back to the phones. Go ahead this morning. You're on.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Bill Ballou calling.
Hi, Bill.
And I just wanted to express appreciation for Dirk over the years, for number of things, whether it's for our store or the organizations. I know we've had people down there for Habitat for Humanity recently with Rotary, and the fellows came back from Rotary, and the comment that they made was really fairly typical what I'd heard over the years. They said that they were really professional. They asked the right questions. They were interested, and apparently, I mean, it's something that apparently they don't experience every station where they go on. So I've always appreciated working with you, Dirk. So God's best with you, whatever endeavor you're on the next. But just appreciate your friendship and your kindness and working with us over the years. So
Thank you, Bill.
much.
The city's been a great friend to this radio station and to everybody who's worked for it, and the organizations. It's really a symbiotic relationship because we provide the information, but it's got to come from somewhere. And the best thing we can do as far as talking to people, interviewing those folks is I've always followed one rule only. I'm going to ask questions that you know about.
Yeah. Well, very good. Well, thanks so much, Dirk.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Yep. Goodbye now.
This would be the place or this particular hour where I would pull out Dirk's greatest hits. But like so many things, now I want to explain it. Unlike many stations, we do not record every single minute of every single hour of every single day of programming that we have. There are some stations that do that. We don't. We never have. It would be difficult for me to put together an air check tape fairly quickly from old stuff. I don't have it anymore. I just through the years didn't think about keeping things like local football playoff games. I never really thought about it. So this would be the point in the program where if we were a real radio station, we would drop in Dirk's greatest hits. Now what I should do is ask him to play his air check tape for us that got him hired at somewhere else.
Oh my!
Now that would be Dirk's greatest. That truly would be Dirk's greatest hits. Do you have that on file somewhere? Is there an MP3 that we can?
You would be completely unimpressed. It was the most basic thing. All they wanted was, I think, voice tone.
So there wasn't.
Maybe, yeah. There was nothing too incredible about that at all. The best place to go for some of the greatest hits, and pretty typical, I think, of Breakfast Flakes, is to go online, and we can't do that right now. Otherwise, we'd play some of them for you right now. But there is a place called Breakfast Flakes Greatest Hits on our website, and if you go there, you'll hear some things that we've been able to put up since an upgrade on the internet, and within the last 6 months to a year. You're on the Talk of the Town. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, you're on.
Go ahead.
Oh, hi. This is Doug Dettering.
Hey, Doug.
You didn't tell me, Dirk.
Well, I didn't want to get you off the track.
He's a modest fella. He didn't want to spill the beans and steal your thunder.
Well, I'll be darned. Well, that's kind of the way it's always been, though. Dirk has always been a cordial host and someone who kind of keeps you headed in the right direction and lets you know when you're off track and lets you know when you're on track. And I appreciate that. After doing the Breakfast Flake show on Friday for I don't know how many years, Dirk, I have no idea. Yeah. You lose track of time.
Yeah, you do.
And it's just kind of a part of my Friday morning routine, just as Breakfast Flakes has been a part of my every morning routine for so many years. And so it's not going to be the same without you, Dirk, and I wish you well. I don't know where you're going, and you probably can't say on the radio.
We're not going to give them a plug, not a chance.
No.
We're not going to give them a plug, not a chance of that this morning.
You've heard us refer to them
No,
before.
stop. You're not going there. I'm not going to let you do that. That's my only rule for this 10 o'clock hour.
No,
we ain't giving them a plug. If they want one, they can pay for it, for God's sake.
I agree. You understand I'm still on payroll till about 4. So.
Oh, you are. Today till 4 o'clock. Okay, then we'll know.
It's not too late for them to issue a pink slip. All right, Doug, good to hear from you. Thank you very much.
You bet. And thank you, Dirk, for all your service to our community, too. I mean, you've always been a professional voice in our community, someone who represents our community and our businesses as well as everybody in Kearney very well. And you've been a very, very great asset for KGFW and that whole series of stations. So, Dirk, I wish you well, and hope we'll see you around a little bit.
Thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate it. It's been a love affair with this girl we call Carney.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, guys.
We need to. Are we going to do some news headlines?
Well,
here,
I suppose we should, because we actually have a sponsor, and these sponsors do help pay the bills. So I suppose that means we probably should do some news headlines.
You of all people should know that.
Are you sure that just for old time's sake, you don't want to make this your final newscast?
I already signed off.
I know. I'm just teasing. You know me.
But make it quick.
It will be. Well, I can do 2 stories. It'll be as quick as can be, because I can't really even give current weather conditions or any current AP stories.
That's right.
We got no internet.
Steve Allmeyer has news headlines coming up next. We'll be back with more Talk of the Town.
Talk of the Town on a Friday morning, Dirk's farewell hour, if you will. If you'd like to call and wish him well, 698-2131, pound 1340 on your Verizon Wireless. And our email address is tot@kgfw.com. Caller, go ahead. You're on.
Yeah, guess who? Yeah, Jim Cabot. I'll put a disclaimer in there. Anyway, what can words say? We all know how we feel about Dirk. We always enjoy listening to him. You never knew what we was going to get, but one thing, you got what he was thinking, and that's the truth. And he always treated me well for the last 20 years in the legislature. He just always treated me with respect, but he wasn't above arguing with me, and that's good. But anyway, we're going to miss him. That's what else can you say?
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, we had. Go ahead.
I think he left.
Okay. Well, we've had some pretty good arguments over the course of years, and I've learned to restrain myself over the course of those years, too, and I think you know who I'm talking about. But we've had our goes around, and we have made peace, and I think the respect is there, and that's what's important. But further into that, it is the fact that talk radio really exists. Yeah, that you've got your talking heads, and you've got people who have an agenda and drive that. But you know what? What is talk radio in a local market like this? And we're lucky to have it. I got to tell you how unique KGFW is in a market like this. In fact, the entire media landscape in a town as big as Kearney, Nebraska, in this market area, is very, very lucky to have the mix of media that it has. You have a daily newspaper, you have a television station, you have a news talk, you have the whole gamut of radio stations, all of which are doing news, and of course, our forte has always been news. And you can go to any other comparably sized market in the country, and you will not find this. And many places you will not find a live radio station, and certainly not a live AM radio station. But it is the magic of conversation. Yes. It really is. It's the telephone that does it. And when we talk to Doug or we talk to, whoever else it is, it's that immediacy. And, you never know. It's walking a tightrope every day. You're out there without a net. And that's what we do. And it's very compelling radio.
But you know what, though? That is the true test of talent, which you have. To make what you do look like it's not work, which you've been able to do, I think.
Well, I
think you've pulled that off.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I've gotten better at it over the years.
Quite an evolution from your DJ days to the way this...
DJ is no way to train a radio person.
No. The thing I remember about your...
By the way, it is 10:40 right now.
Your quote-unquote DJ days, a high school kid that loved Chicago, the band Chicago... Yeah. And Maynard Ferguson because of your trumpet expertise.
Yep. Jazz fusion guy.
And I don't know how many Chicago songs I heard during the years when we still played music during the Christensen show.
Many, yeah. When you end up with that certain length of time and you know the whole Chicago library, you know what to go to. And I always open, and with those early years, I would open with that Beatles tune, Hello, Goodbye. And I don't know why I did that for so long, but that got on people's nerves after a while, even mine.
And it wouldn't be a great roast if there weren't some I'm not even going to go there, but there are some personal stories.
You have to go there.
No, I'm not. There are some other personal things we all have. I won't go so far as to say mishaps, but we've all had our mishaps through the way. Some things that have happened that aren't quite normal, and I'm not going to go anywhere near there. The thing that about Dirk, talking about since he's been doing this morning show and the dedication, there's been many a time he has slept, and Dave knows what it's like, knowing a blizzard's coming. Many a time the Dirk has slept on the couch upstairs or in at the time, maybe McDonald's office or wherever you could find a spot to throw a pillow on a blanket and know that you're going to be able to get up the next morning. And, those are the things that I will remember the best because we've done this so many days, and I really enjoy doing the show with Dirk because he's very intelligent, very well studied. We seem to have a pretty good kind of unwritten back and forth where we understand where each one of us wants to go at that particular time.
You've got chemistry.
I think that's a good way to describe it because we both
flunked chemistry.
We both know where we are going and where we want to go.
I dabbled, but let's not get into that.
Does Dave have headphones on?
Yeah, I've got headphones.
It's just like an FM show. You can't shut him up. But where I was going with all of this, the things that really pop out in my head when it comes to Dirk are, and as sad as it is to say, disaster-type situations. The ice storm is one that comes to mind. We were one of the first people, one of the first entities able to get up and on the air, and I can't tell you how many people tuned here to find out information from NPPD, from the city. The ice storm just a couple of years ago, the tornado of a few years ago, blizzard-type situations. That is when a local radio station doing what we do becomes as important as it is. And those are the vivid memories I have of Dirk doing his job through some difficult times and with lots of different information and people flying at him and those kind of things. That's where I'll always remember Dirk Christensen.
Thank you. The thing is also that is a huge team effort, though, and the great thing about the people's commitment around this radio station is that it's not that I'm not going to come in because it's not my shift. It's all hands on deck when something like that happens. And I remember the night of the Grand Island tornadoes, and I had been in the business 4 years at that point, and everybody in this room remembers how that went. And the Grand Island radio was off. They were off the air, and we were the first thing up that people were listening to for information on that. And it was an incredible, fast-paced situation, and you don't live for that, you don't love that, but you know what? If you respond well to that stuff, you can do anything. You can handle anything. Mark Reed is here.
I remember that night because I was working on the college station.
There you go.
And so I was a lone cat on that one at the time. So
I was at a softball field getting ready to play a softball game. I looked to the east and said, "Boy, that's nasty."
It's not good.
And I have a lot of. I wonder why we have time here yet to just go through a couple of other things that are going to be high points. I imagine for everybody because they are for me, and that is the fact that we have always responded well to any weather situation that comes on, and that's bread and butter stuff for AM radio. I remember so well the fireworks shows that we did, the fireworks audio that we used to do, and timing those out with they had the new automated fuse lighter or whatever that was that would set them off with KVFD 3rd of July fireworks, and we did audio for that for a couple of years. That was just I'm still agog at how that ever came together.
Out of the gray van.
Yeah.
The silver one.
The KQ Cruiser.
Yeah, and then I remember seeing that at Anderson's with its head cut off.
I remember the haunted houses where United Way would get with us on that, and we'd recruit every sorority and fraternity on campus to come down and do a night, and we ran those haunted houses for the better part of a year in the basement of KGFW with lines that stretched all down Central Avenue to 23rd and all the way back to the alley and beyond.
How we didn't have, I look back at those, and I just don't know how we didn't have injuries or something. I mean, because
State Fire Marshal would never allow that.
Not now, no. Insurance got to the point. No way.
You know what? It was great fun in the day.
A lot, and the decorations are still up.
Some of them are.
They are.
Some of them literally are.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Still some scary things painted on the walls.
A couple of ghosts.
We after the first Gulf War, we got together. It was just a kernel of a thought that happened as just kind of that meandering on the telephone with Toby Tollefson, a businessman at Tollefson Elliott Lumber Company at the time, and just mentioned at one time that we ought to do something for the returning vets after the first Gulf War. And that expanded a little bit more, and we realized, and I think everyone was kind of slow to realize, but maybe we among the first to say, Vietnam never really got its due. And so we performed and put together with the help, and I should say we, because the entire community and just about every organization that you could think of and individuals and the entire community bought into it because they had to finance it. It was financed with T-shirt sales. It was called a Salute to All Veterans. And we brought in Air Force jets that flew down Central Avenue during the parade, and had a giant gathering at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds to say thank you to everybody from World War I, and there were still World War I veterans.
Yeah.
World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, and everything that we could think of, and we hope that we, in some way at least, were able to, in a small way, say, thank you finally for everything that you gave up for that.
The one thing that I think is missing over the years that we never really did, we didn't, over with what Dirk has done, is that we could have had a wall of doodles.
That's true. Oh, that's the other part of the story.
Because, as you know, he's a caricature artist at his best, and I don't know how many doodles you've done over the years, but you've got one right in front of you. And
it helps me clear my mind. I put together my thoughts, my counterpoints to Altmaier over here. My doodling is what I did.
Pretty much every morning I find a doodle.
That's pretty much the way it works. But this radio station has been very accommodating for that business, and I appreciate the opportunity to have been able to do it. This radio station to give me opportunity to travel and to rub elbows at national conventions with some great people over the course of years. I've personally had discussions over drinks with Larry King and Gary Owens and Jim Bohannon and, of course, Charlie Tuna. And
Name dropper.
Bobby Langus. But
I know.
I'll tell you what. These guys are as plain as brown paper.
Oh, yeah.
They are just people, and it's an amazing thing to know that the most successful people in radio are they're common as a dollar bill, and listen to some great keynote. I will never forget the greatest keynote speech I ever heard at a broadcasting convention was by the guy who'd been kicked off ABC, but Howard Cosell.
Oh, yeah.
He did a speech there that made it sound like he was going senile. And he brought that thing back around in 45 minutes he was the most brilliant speaker I have ever heard. Just amazing. So it's been so many great opportunities for me over the course of years. And so I thank this radio station, thank this community for allowing me the opportunity to have time with their ears. And someone once said, the most precious gift I can give you is my undivided attention. And I truly believe it.
You know what? I should end on that note.
Yeah.
There's nothing better we can say.
Nope.
I feel kind of like, what are we going to say now? So
for the next few weeks, can I call you and say good morning?
No, you can't. I'll be sleeping in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one thing about this.
You realize you're one of the first people I get to say good morning to. Now, what am I going to do?
That's a scary thought. Yeah, that's what, we've had so many people over the course of time say, I have you in the shower with me.
Yeah, we've been everywhere.
Anyway, one final note, and that is a thanks, and this one goes out to John McDonald. Who brought me on, gave me the opportunities, and it was a body blow to lose him when we did so quickly. But I'll always remember, the fact that he appreciated effort, and
sure did.
Yep, and he lets you do it. He lets you be good,
yeah.
And we have kind of bred that kind of thought all the way through our staff over the years. And
he let you alone and let you do your job.
Yep, he absolutely did. Mm-hmm. And we have managed to pass the baton on to good people. And I'm looking at one right now. His name is Mark Reed. He's the operations manager for the place. He already has someone in line for this position. And Mark, best of luck down the road.
Thank you.
You will always be a friend.
Yep, absolutely.
I appreciate everything that we've done.
And I would say that there's no one person that I learnt more from broadcasting than you. I watched you over the years and absorbed as much as I possibly could. I would not be here today if it wasn't for you. And the fact that you took a risk with a real Aussie back in the day to cover Royals baseball, which, you know, it wasn't cricket, but I survived. I will say that it was the best decision I ever made was to come down here and apply, and all you've done for us. And I say this without any hesitation, your integrity has by far rubbed off on a lot of us, and we do appreciate everything that you've done.
And I must intervene because all good things must come to an end, and we are out of time. Who amongst us gets the final word?
I do.
You do? Let me then just give you this final goodbye. Godspeed, friend, and
Yes.
I am sure we will see you down the road.
Stay in touch. We love you.
Appreciate it. Thanks. I will be around. Alt, thanks. Brecky, thank you very much. Mark.
You're welcome.
Davo, thank you. Been a great run. See you, everybody.